everyone, I'm Kariva Devine, and welcome to 12 News Weekend. Each week, we're bringing you the top stories from our team of 12 News journalists, the ones that made headlines and got people talking. On today's show, could Arizona's own Senator Ruben Ggo be eyeing the White House in 2028? We caught up with him at the iconic Iowa State Fair to find out what he had to say. Plus, it has been 35 years since the I-10 Deck Park Tunnel opened up in Phoenix. We're taking a ride through history, showing you how it all came together and what it takes to keep it running smoothly. But first, what is driving up the price of beef lately? 12 News journalist William Pitts digs into what's really behind the rising costs at the grocery store.
On a trip to some random grocery stores, some mouth-watering steaks with eye-watering prices. $12, $21, $53.
We love getting all we can for our calves.
Bill Dagenal is the president of the Arizona Cattle Growers Association and a third-generation rancher.
I don't think these cattle have ever been higher.
The rancher for years has always taken it in the backside, and somebody else has made the money, and it gives us a chance to get some of that money back.
Ranchers like Mike Anuscio are making money with their cattle, a lot of it. But while they'll take it, they're not exactly excited about it. They play the long game. They know what could be coming.
You know, it's great that we're making the money on the calves, but how long does it sustain? How long before the consumer says, look, I just can't afford this?
This is an unprecedented time in the cattle market, and at some point it's going to be hard for the consumer to purchase beef. Pork is a lot cheaper.
The main reason why beef prices are getting higher, there just aren't that many cows. The U.S. keeps track of how many cattle there are. Right now, there are about 87 million cattle, but that's the lowest number since 1951.
When you keep a heifer, retain a heifer for your breeding stock, before her calf hits the market for beef, we're talking 4 years.
Right now, I'd love for my herd to be bigger, but we have no range, so we're just trying to sustain what we've got.
Most cattle in Arizona are free range. They roam on public lands. Ranchers can feed them, but they need grass on that land, and grass doesn't grow much in a drought. The U.S. imports beef from places like Brazil, which is the third largest supplier. That beef, which is mostly hamburger, now has a 50% tariff on it. And right now, Dagenal says prices are so high it makes more sense to sell a cow than to keep it to make new cows, which means bigger herds and lower prices could be years off. William Pitts, 12 News.
When I told folks in Phoenix I was going to follow Ruben Ggo to Iowa, they said, that's great, but are you going to see the butter cow?
Because it's made out of butter.
It's fabulous. I don't know how they do it.
Does the butter cow have a name?
Butter cow.
And it's really unique, isn't it? Yeah.
Could you imagine eating all that butter?
No.
No.
But he can with the ice cream.
Well, we saw the butter cow and we spoke to the sculptor of the butter cow. And everybody told me, you have to see the butter cow. They could care less about the candidate. You have to see the butter cow. School teacher Sarah Pratt has had the awesome responsibility of carving the Iowa State Fair's butter cow for almost 20 years. How much pressure is there making a butter cow? I mean, look at the lines.
People love it, and I love it, and I have been doing it for a very long time. So there is a sense of responsibility for sure, but there's a lot more joy than stress. So
you work on it year round?
Actually, I'm a teacher most of the year, and we work on this starting in about January and then get going in July in the butter. So
this is all your work?
True. Well, you met my daughters, Hannah and Grace, in the hallway.
Yeah.
They're my apprentices, and so we together have done this. And their little brother Dean, who's 13, is an apprentice for the first time this year, and he's making Rex as a character from Toy Story. It's over there.
Oh, is that what that is?
Not finished yet.
Okay.
As many of the pieces are still in progress, but yes, it's a family affair.
And so a lot of folks outside are wondering who's going to be.
Oh, that is going to be a fiddle player. It's the 100th anniversary of the fiddle contest at the Iowa State Fair. So the storyboard here is that Rex was playing a video game and stepped on the remote, turned the TV to the fiddle contest, and Jessie was obsessed. She and Buzz and Woody escaped through the window and are on their way to the Iowa State Fair to see the butter cow in the fiddle contest. So that's kind of what's happening in the story of the Toy Story coming to the Iowa State Fair, kind of like a tie-in to this.
I have to tell you, some folks said they thought it might be Caitlin Clark.
Which, why wouldn't you want more Caitlin Clark? If you could get more Caitlin Clark, why not?
Hard to argue. And is the butter frozen? Is that how you work with it?
It is, first of all, you'd want to know, maybe you already can tell, having been in this cooler, that the butter is old, not new.
Right.
It's 20 years old.
I'm not going to put that on my toast.
I don't know if you can tell by the smell.
Oh, but you can tell. We can.
Oh, great. So it comes to us frozen from storage, and then we defrost it, and then we soften it like this, and then mold it into. So it's a varying stages of 70 degrees all the way up to, or all the way down to 40 degrees temperature butter.
And how long does it take you to make it?
We started July 7th, and the butter part of this, and before that we were doing design work and that sort of thing. So
not even a month.
Right. Yeah. It goes pretty quick once we have all the designs together.
And when it's over, is the cow going to be poured over popcorn or sauteed?
Poured back down and back into buckets, and it's going to become next year's who knows what.
And coming up, an iconic and beloved art gallery is set to close after more than 3 decades in business. How you can help their mission when we come back.
This is kind of what you do when you come into the gallery. You're able to thumb through and flip through the stacks of artwork.
From now until August 30th,
lots to see.
Manager Max Smith says everything at Art One Gallery is 20% off.
That's really just kind of as a thank you to our, customers and the community that supported us, and also to kind of help some of the artists thin out some of their inventory as they, move to the next stage of their career.
Unfortunately, when the sale ends, so does the business's 32-year run in the Old Town Scottsdale Arts District.
This has been one of the most difficult decisions to make probably in my life, and probably in the lives of the employees that work here, especially Craig, the owner.
Smith says owner Craig Foote did a lot to keep his business around since 1993, like selling his art collection and taking out business loans.
At this point, it's almost as if the wells run dry. He's really given a lot of his resources to keep the place open.
Those personal sacrifices ultimately weren't enough for Art One Gallery in 2025, as it faced one of its slowest years for sales in a decade.
Art is maybe not on people's top of the list of priorities at the moment.
Craig is also dealing with some health issues. Smith says he moved to Utah to be closer to family.
It's been very challenging and sad, and he's had to kind of move on and move forward with the next step in his life too.
Smith says it may be a difficult new chapter for up-and-coming Arizona artists who were given exposure at the gallery for years.
A really large community of local Arizona artists here who I fear aren't going to really know where to go. There isn't a lot of places like this.
While the gallery's last day of business is coming soon, Smith says he's going to continue working with the Art One Foundation, which raises money for student artists in high school and college.
That's one thing that we really hope to do and really hope to push into the next generation is this nonprofit that will solely be dedicated to helping those students.
I asked Senator Gallego directly whether he would run for president. His answer, not right now.
So for folks wondering about what Ruben Ggo is doing in Iowa, folks back in Chandler, Nogales, Flagstaff, can you say running for president is out of the question?
Right now, running for the president's out of the question.
The first-term Democratic senator says his 2-day visit to Iowa is about beefing up the red state's Democratic Party for a potential payoff in Congress.
I can't get things done with 47 only Democratic votes. We can't get anything done in the House if we don't have control. It's not going to just be found in Arizona. It's certainly not going to be found in these blue states. So we got to win in these states, these red states too.
Polling shows Gallego barely registers as a 2028 contender in what could be a huge Democratic presidential field.
And so here comes Ruben Gallego. He's been in the Senate just 8 months. Probably not a household name here in Iowa. What does he stand to gain from showing up for a day?
Well, he's probably looked at the Barack Obama playbook. He did not wait his turn. He was told by some people it wasn't his time to run. And that's what happened in the Iowa caucuses. He won the caucuses.
O.K. Henderson has reported on Iowa's presidential caucuses for decades.
This will matter. Iowa will matter in 28.
It always matters to be a competitor and, in fact, a winner on the very first stage.
This is you, Ruben. Gallego was heckled during a state fair visit by an organized group of Republicans.
this you in 2020?
They already asked that question.
Yeah. Is this still you? Do you still agree?
So
The Iowa GOP accused the senator of mocking the state's farmers, as well as the Democrats' presidential caucus fiasco back in 2020.
I think there was just a lot of frustration in 2020. We didn't get the results. And, I ran my mouth.
But the questions about Gallego's political ambitions won't go away. He's heading to the Quad Cities for a town hall on Saturday, and at the end of the month, Gallego travels to New Hampshire, historic home of the nation's first presidential primary in 2028.
At first glance, this looks like a virtual reality arcade, but it's actually an ASU classroom.
Dreamscape Learn is a way in which we put students into a cutting-edge virtual reality technology that engages them in a narrative story where they are the ones who are tasked with solving an urgent problem.
Virtual reality is now part of introductory classes in biology, chemistry, and beyond, designed to put students at the center of the action, not just behind a desk.
When I first heard about Dreamscape, I was skeptical. I put the headset on and I found out how immersive it was, and I was hooked. I realized this is a way of engaging students, which I don't know of any other way of doing it.
Intro chemistry classes are the latest to use VR, and of course there are still real-world lab portions of the class, but VR helps students see what is otherwise invisible to the naked eye.
One of the biggest problems in chemistry is you see a molecule on a piece of paper. That's not a molecule at all. Right? The only reason molecules do what they do is because there's more than one of them. And furthermore, the molecules are in motion, they're in collision, and so chemistry is really a property of billions of molecules doing things together. And VR helps us to do that in a way that I haven't been able to do any other way.
ASU says the technology isn't just keeping students engaged, it's helping them earn better grades.
Students were 1.7 times as likely to earn an A in the Dreamscape version of the course as compared to business as usual. We saw about a full letter grade improvement.
And for professors like Ian Gold, VR isn't just changing outcomes, it's changing who feels welcome in class.
One of the problems with traditional chemistry has a very dry academic background sort of culture, and some students don't feel welcomed by that culture. They can't see themselves in it, almost feel rejected by that culture. So one of the goals of this project is to bring them into chemistry so they can see themselves in it, see themselves contributing to it.
Nearly 45,000 students have used the VR courses alone, and ASU says they're planning to expand to other courses. In Tempe, Kyle Simchuk, 12 News.
(1998), the year the Valley of the Sun changed forever. America's pastime, rooted into the identity of our Sonoran Desert. 12 News has been there for all of it, telling the Diamondback story, from the All-Stars to the championships to the impact on our community. Now the next chapter awaits.
The Diamondbacks play right here on 12 News.
Catch select games as we continue telling the Diamondback story. 12 News, your new home for D-backs baseball.
It easily is one of the most significant transportation advancements we've had in the state's history.
ADOT spokesman Doug Nensel talks about the I-10 Deck Park Tunnel just north of downtown Phoenix.
What that meant to the area has been significant.
Here's an aerial photo from the late 1980s showing what the construction looked like.
The decision was made, hey, we can go underground or below ground level, put a park on top of the tunnel, and that will help preserve the neighborhoods in terms of keeping them connected.
Created by 19 side-by-side bridges between 3rd Street and 3rd Avenue, the nearly 1 mile long I-10 Deck Park Tunnel opened on August 10th, 1990.
It changed the face of transportation here.
Following its opening, there were 3 days of public events in the tunnel and above it in the new 32-acre Hance Park created by the city of Phoenix.
It's made a huge difference.
Fast forward to 2021, a major upgrade was completed when the tunnel's original overhead sodium lighting was replaced by a modern LED system featuring more than 1,500 energy-efficient lights. And just last year, ADOT dedicated the tunnel in memory of a late ADOT civil engineer, Dean Lindsay, who was tasked with managing the development of a number of I-10 Papago Freeway projects, and those projects included the tunnel back in the 70s and 80s.
You really have to salute the folks who worked on all this stuff.
After all, creating the Deck Park Tunnel project project was a monumental task. Construction workers placed 1,400 columns to support the bridge structures. They excavated 1 million cubic yards of soil and installed more than 100,000 cubic yards of concrete and nearly 20 million pounds of reinforcing steel. More than 3 decades later now, 200,000 drivers are still cruising through the tunnel every day. Its opening 35 years ago completed 2,460 miles of I-10 across 8 states.
That was considered the final mile of I-10 completed across the entire country.
The final mile.
We're real proud of how the tunnel has stood up in terms of a test of time.
Trisha Hendricks, 12 News.
It's 1 part coffee, 1 part flower shop. Stemistry is a different kind of business thought up by 19-year-old Dylan Capshaw. Yes, he's 19. He's a young business owner who's been dreaming, thinking, and planning about what's next.
Right around COVID, everybody was trying to drop ship and all the internet money was popular. So I was trying to create a product that I could sell online and capitalize on drop shipping. I tried tech products, a bunch of different things, nothing really stuck. And then I started cutting my landscaping during COVID. I was stuck home and I was trying to market it. So we have olive trees. I said, buy these aromatic branches and put them in your shower, and eucalyptus, and they started selling.
Dylan's business morphed into selling flowers. And a lot of them, so many, he had to get a warehouse. But instead of backing himself into a corner and just selling flowers, he wanted something unique. So he added coffee as part of the business plan. He wasn't even out of high school when he opened his first store with staff.
That was hard for me hiring at such a young age. I had never had a job before, so job interviews weren't the easiest when I was conducting them.
He managed to get through the hiring staff to work in his 2 different shops, incorporating coffee and flowers. Customers can walk into the shop, pick out flowers by the stem, and order a coffee. Some of the drinks are even flower-inspired, like the Rose Latte or Flower Garden Latte.
We have a 24-karat gold latte where we sprinkle gold leaf on top, and the influencers love that one.
Dylan is still thinking about what's next.
We're getting our liquor license for these stores. Hopefully in August, we'll be serving liquor as well. So
you can't even drink yet.
Isn't that crazy? I called my attorney and I asked him that, and he said that's a question I've never been asked before, if someone under 21 could own a liquor license. So there's a lot of...
What's the answer? Yes?
The answer was yes, technically.
While he works out the details, he's also busy at ASU. Dylan is a sophomore in college this year, majoring in business, hoping to brew something up even bigger in the future.
Are you ready to see one of the best views in Sedona? Here's one of the ways you can get to the iconic Chicken Point. We took the Little Horse Trail, a 4-mile out and back trail that only has a little incline. You're gonna need a $5 Red Rock Daily Pass to park, and I highly recommend starting early in the day, especially in the summer. But this is a trail for hikers, horseback riders, mountain bikers, everyone.
While he's here helping me move, I was like, screw it, let's go out here.
This part of Sedona, you'll meet lots of people from out of town.
We're just on a family vacation with our grandma and grandpa.
Nearly the entire time, you'll be looking at the beautiful red sandstone mountains off in the distance, and we'll keep getting closer and closer to them. Look at that. We're not too far into this hike just yet. The good part is that there are little spots of shade. So if you're bringing a dog or you just need a little quick rest, look where we are right now. This is perfect. As you can see, dogs are allowed, but you have to keep them on a leash and bring booties for their feet just in case it gets real hot. How's the hike been so far?
Really hot.
Really hot, okay. How you been handling the heat though? How do you stay cool?
Water. And taking breaks.
Wise words from Colton. And luckily the trail is well marked and will only take you about 45 minutes to an hour until you reach Chicken Point. Then make sure you brought your good camera because this is the perfect place for some pictures. And heads up, another way to get to Chicken Point is by pink Jeeps. Yeah, we saw a whole bunch where people drove up for bachelorette parties or just fun adventure events.
Coming from East Coast, West Coast, I got the center zone between where all my friends are, so it was easy to come to. We wanted to hike, we wanted to have fun, pool parties, everything was perfect.
And the views?
Exceeded all my expectations.
So we're on our way back to the car right now. It's been a phenomenal hike. And babe, how's the weather been? It's been in the high 80s. Are you handling the heat okay?
Yeah, it feels great with a nice breeze. We do have our dog with us, so taking some extra breaks in the shade with her and keeping her hydrated, but overall it feels good.
This is a must-do hike in Sedona when the weather is cool enough, but the views are some of the best in the state. Let us know where we should go next on another episode of Rediscover Arizona. For 12 News, I'm Troy Lynch.
And thanks so much for watching. And just a reminder, new episodes of 12 News Weekend premiere every Friday on 12 Plus. You can also watch past episodes on the app, so be sure to download 12 Plus for your Apple TV, Fire TV, and Roku, and you can watch for free. I'm Kadiba Devine. Have a fantastic rest of your weekend.
When the monsoon strikes, be prepared. The 12 News Weather Impact Team.
Be on alert for a strong storm.
Keeping you safe, informed, and dry. The 12 News Monsoon 2025 Special. Streaming now on 12 Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.